right? Well, we use the fact that pi and 180 degrees refer to the same terminal side, right? The negative x-axis is represented by pi and 180. So when I multiply something by either pi over 180 or 180 over pi, that's like multiplying times 1. They're just different units. So we're going to use this factor to change from degrees to radians and radians to degrees. The only question is, when do I do the pi over 180 and when do I do the 180 over pi? Which we'll do an example on that. Ready? So convert to radians. These are in degree measure. We'll convert to radians. Am I going to multiply by 180 over pi or pi over 180?
Pi over 180.
Okay, pi over 180 because, yeah, and because we need the degrees to cancel. So right now we start with 135 degrees. That's in the numerator. The 180 degrees is in the denominator, so degrees cancel, and our answer will be in terms of radians in the numerator. So this would be 135 over 180 times pi. Okay, what is the simplified fraction, 135 over 180? And you could put it in your calculator. Math, enter, enter. It's 3/4, right? So this is 3 pi over 4. So there are times when it asks you to convert from degrees to radians, and it says leave your answer in terms of pi. Maybe they say write as a multiple of pi. But what it means is don't just substitute 3.14 and turn this into a decimal. You need to have the pi as part of the answer. If you want to turn it into a decimal, then by all means you could multiply times pi. I would use the key on the calculator, not 3.14. Yeah. Yes. If you need to do it in the calculator, do 135 divided by 180, enter, math, enter, enter. You get your 3/4. So this is the factor. Pi over 180. It's in the denominator. It's in the denominator. Would you expect the 180s in the numerator? Then where is it going to be? If it's not in the numerator, where is it going to be? Right. Okay, what about this one? Multiply by pi over 180. So what is negative 270 over 180 as a fraction? The simplified fraction. Negative 3/2 pi. Okay, now when you go from radians, negative 270 over 180.
But why is it in the numerator in the first one and outside?
In both cases, it is in the numerator. Okay, one more. Right, you go from radians to degrees. In this section in the book, they will sometimes put RAD like it's a unit, but basically radians are unitless. There is no unit that's attached to it. Most of the time, we recognize radians because it may have a pi in it. Whenever you see pi, in your mind, you think, okay, that's probably radian measure. But it's not always the case. Like the second one here, that's just a decimal, 2.0, and it's radians. Okay, and that can happen. It will happen a lot. What do I multiply? What's the conversion factor to take me from 180 divided by pi, right? Because we need our answer to be in terms of degrees, that needs to be in the numerator. The radians in the denominator will cancel the radians in the numerator, right? So pi cancels pi. This is negative 180 divided by 2, which is negative 90 degrees. Now, 2.0 radians, first question is, which quadrant is 2 radians in? Remember, in radian measure, we know that this is 0, and this is pi over 2, and this is pi. Pi is 3.14. Half of pi would be 1.57. So where would you find 2? In between these two, right? Quadrant 2. Quadrant 2. Okay? Because it's more than 1.57, it's less than 3.14. Okay, now, what do I multiply by? Times 180 divided by pi. And now that, there's no pi to cancel. You just have to put it all in the calculator and see what's the decimal value there. What is 2 times 180 divided by pi? It's like 116. Use your calculator. $114.6. Which in terms of degrees, if I ask you which quadrant is 114 degrees, you'd say, okay, that's the second quadrant. You'd figure that out. We don't recognize the radians as well, but you can.
But we will